Float Upon the Waves, How to Analyze Phi by Phish. Here we go. The first thing you want to do when you're analyzing a piece of music is look at the key signature, and our key signature here is E flat major or C minor. And the second thing you want to do to figure out the key of the song, or the tonal center I should say of the song, is start to look at the first chord and the last chord of the piece of music. It doesn't always tell you what the tonal center of the song is, but usually it does. In this case, we start with a C minor, and that would make sense that this is the key of C minor in the key signature. However, the song he was a Buddhist prodigy, long past the age of maturity. It moves a lot right in the beginning, so it doesn't really settle into this C minor land. And when we look to the last chord of the song, which is I think I have it as the piano solo. Right, it dies out and then it goes to the drums doing the bossa nova beat. That also doesn't resolve to either C minor or E flat major. However, upon analyzing this just real quick, I can see that, where is it? The chorus of the song settles into E flat major. It's like a bona fide, there's like a feeling of settle on the E flat major. So I'm going to go ahead and call this E flat major and see how we do. All right, so the first thing is I want to do my chord scale. We figured out the key, so now I'm going to do the chord scale. E flat major. Put that in the key signature here. Boom, there we go. Put it here, there we go. There's an E flat major chord, and let's see if it lets me repeat it. There we go. And we don't need that last one. Add from notes. Boom. Yes, those are the right chords. Let's just get rid of the diagram and just call it that for our chord scale. And in this case, we want to put on a seventh. Well, let's figure out what the chords are. Put those all in, add from notes. That's a mess. I wanted my seventh chords in there as well. So we've got our chord scale for E flat major. Get rid of the diagrams, because we just want the theory here. Now let's put in the Roman numerals. So this will be our bona fide 1, our 2, our 3, our big 4, big 5, 6, and our 7 with a superscript diminished symbol. And here are our seventh chords. We do a superscript 7. Yes, we can. 2, 7, 3, 7, 4, 7. Everybody remember that a 5, 7 in a major key is always dominant, even though it looks, the Roman numeral looks like it's a major 7, it's always dominant. Big 5 and a 7. Little 6, 7, 7, shift apple O, 7. There we go. Okay, so there's our chord scale for the key of E flat major, and we'll keep that in the background so we can reference it when we're going through our different chords. We can just pull from them. It's really important to know these chord scales in every key when you're analyzing a piece of music or composing a piece of music, because then you have them like on your palette to just pull from them. All right, so we're ready to begin. Let's go ahead and put in the first chord. Again, we're going to start this with it being in the key of E flat major as opposed to C minor, even though that's tempting because it is the first chord. But again, it doesn't really settle on a C minor anywhere in the verse, and it doesn't even settle on an E flat. So, and if you hear it, to me, the whole thing has this sense of unsettled, like the chords just keep moving. Even though it stops on that A flat over E, it has like this deceptive cadence back to the C minor to do another verse, but it doesn't really settle anywhere. So we're just going to call it E flat because it is the easiest to analyze in. Let's put on our text. We want just a regular plain text. We'll call it E flat with a colon. This is indicating the key of E flat major. And you want to put that over to the left of the Roman numerals. Now we could do our Roman numerals. C minor, so that's a bona fide 6. No inversion, no 7th. So that's a good 6 chord. Now we're going to an A flat minor 7. How does that A flat minor 7 function in the key of E flat major? Let's go back to our chord scale and we can see that there is no A flat minor 7. There's an A flat major and an A flat major 7. So what gives? Why is that in there? Well, you don't always want to write music that is using chords from the same key. That limits you to 7 or 14 chords. In basic theory, there's only 14 chords with your triads and your 7th chords. So this A flat minor 7, there's a special trick or device we can use called modally borrowing. What that means is to analyze the music from the parallel major or minor key. So in order to do that, I need to spell out all the chords from the parallel minor key, which is E flat minor. So I'm going to go ahead and write in a new chord scale. This right here, I'm going to call it a new key. What key did I say? The parallel minor to E flat major would be E flat minor. So let's go in and write a new key signature, E flat minor. There it is. Put in our right there is my chord scale. And if I put those into the chords, add to notes, give us a little more room here, get rid of the diagram. So here's the minor, 2 diminished, big 3 in a minor key, little 4, little 5, big 6, big 7, 1, 7, that's a minor 1. Here's our 2 half diminished 7 in a minor key, the 2 chords. 3 is a major 7, that's our relative major of the minor key. Minor 7 4 chord, minor 7 5 chord, major 7 6 chord, and finally our dominant 7 7 chord. All right, a lot of work there for just figuring out the chord scale for the parallel minor of E flat major is E flat minor. Now we can properly analyze where that A flat minor 7 comes from. It's a 4-7 from the parallel minor, so we say modally borrowing. Well, that's just our second chord. That was a lot of work just to get to the second chord. So we're going to call that a lowercase 4 with a 7. But below it, I want to put an indication in brackets, MB, to indicate modally borrowed. That goes right below. And that lets the person know who's reading our analysis know that it is modally borrowed from the parallel minor key of E flat major, which is E flat minor. Okay, next up, B flat minor. Now, in the key of E flat major, we have a B flat minor. And that also, if we look back at our chord scale in E flat minor, that B flat minor chord was the 5 chord. So we have 2 modally borrowed chords right in a row. So we're just going to put a lowercase 5 there because it's in root position. And we'll copy and paste this modally borrowed symbol. Whoops. And put it under that 5 chord. So right off the bat, Trey is not staying diatonic or within the key. That's what diatonic means, within the scale or within the key. He's using a 6, modally borrowed 4, modally borrowed 5. This is a 3, right, in the key of E flat major. That is the 3-7. Next up is a bit of a doozy here, A over C sharp. It's a nice chord change. So I know what he's doing. It's a chromatic mediant move from the A major to the D flat. So that's a chromatic mediant when you move a It's basically moving a major or a minor chord up or down a major or a minor third. I believe Beethoven was famous for that. So anyway, we've got an A major chord. It's not modally borrowed. It's not a secondary dominant either. So because this is a modern day, basically a jazz tune, we can break some traditional classical harmony rules. Basically acknowledge that there's a chord that's not in the key, and to analyze it, we're just going to call it a flat 5 in first inversion. So if we put a flat sign 5, right, so that tells you that you're doing a B flat, which is the 5 of E flat. Flat that, you get an A, or technically it's a sharp 4, I guess, because it's A over C sharp, in first inversion. So that's a little wonky. Another way I could do it, I guess I could call it a sharp 4, and it's major, so it's uppercase in first inversion. I like that because it matches the fact that it's an A major chord as opposed to a B double flat. Yeah, so I'm going to call it a sharp 4/6, and I'm going to move on. Again, that's a chromatic mediant move from an A major chord up a major third to another major chord. It's a really nice way to get chords that are not in the key and move around maybe back to a chord in the key. Now this chord, D flat major, is not in the key. We've got another modally borrowed. This time it is a modally borrowed 7 chord. So we'll pop that in right there. And lastly, in the verse, we've got an A flat is a bona fide 4 in second inversion, so we're going to call it a 6/4. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. Good. And then the rest of the verse, we've just got A flat over E flat, so that just repeats. So I could just do this, pop it in all those spots. Okay, let's move to the chorus where it finally hits our root. E flat major, that's the one bona fide 1 chord. A 5 chord, that's easy. Whoa, fee, 1 5 1 5 1. Most common tension to resolve chord progression in human history. 5 1. He's going the opposite here. 1 5. We've seen that D flat before. That's just a flat 7 or a modally borrowed 7. Get that modally borrowed, put it right there. Next up is an A flat major. That is a bona fide 4 chord in root position. Whoa, fee, trying to live a life that's completely free. That's a good rhythm for that, isn't it? Whoa, fee, you're trying to live a life that's completely free. You want to stay with me until you're dead. That's the same thing here, these two. Just repeats. Always repeat good ideas. It's a pretty classic lesson. If you're soloing or composing, repeat good ideas. And then we go to a G minor 7. It's got a bottle upside. What a beautiful change that is. So that's your 3 chord. Didn't we already have a 3 chord? Yeah. Oh, no. I made an error earlier. This G flat minor 7 here is not the 3 chord. So I think we just got to pop on a flat 3 here and realize that this is also not in the key and it's not modally borrowed. G minor 7 is the 3. I'm glad I caught that because I would have steered you wrong. Anyway, this is a bona fide 3/7, and it resolves to a 4 chord within the key, and it's a major 7. And that repeats. Now I'm second guessing, is there any other way we can analyze this G flat minor 7? You could almost think of this as like a modulation down a whole step, chromatic median. That's really what I think is happening with the composition aspect, is that he just moved it down a whole step and he repeated the same relative chord movement. Okay, let's move to the piano solo now. We've got a C minor. We're going to call that our 6 chord. Root position, no 7th. 5 chord, B flat. That's nice and easy. This is an A flat over E, so I've actually spelled it wrong. A flat over E flat. And we're going to call that a 4 chord with a 6/4 again. We've seen that before. Second inversion, 4 chord, resolving to a nice and easy 1 chord. F minor is a 2, F minor 7 is a 2/7. an E flat major, moving to a root position 6 chord, no 7, triad. Now I've got a B flat over D, so that's a 5 chord in first inversion. So that's a big 5 with a little 6 to indicate that it's a first inversion, third in the bass, right? B flat over D. B flat is the 5 of E flat, that's right. And then that repeats till the cows come home. Boom, put it there, there, and put it there. And there we go. I'm going to save that, and this PDF will be available on my website at guitarreality.com. That's Guitar Reality with 1 R. If you're interested in one-on-one Zoom lessons, doing this kind of thing, guitar lessons, ear training, harmonic analysis, music theory in general, please send me an email or find the links below in the description. And I think that wraps it up. Great song. Afloat Upon the Waves. First episode. This was fun to analyze this piece. Thanks for watching. Take care.